Hi, I'm Dr. Martin Rutherford. I am no, I'm not board certified. I get mixed up on it. Doug Gates is a board certified chiropractic neurologist,
Yes.
my partner and colleague here in crime. And I am a certified functional medicine practitioner and a chiropractor since 1979. We have a chronic pain practice in which it has developed relative to some of the novel treatments that we have put together based on the paradigms of functional medicine and functional neurology being put together, in which Dr. Gates is particularly his particular abilities are in the field of correcting brain function and nerve function, primarily without drugs, and functional medicine is to utilize a lot of what you might recognize as maybe even old-time remedies combined with some new remedies to alter physiology so that the body fixes itself mostly without the use of drugs. And putting those two together, you pretty much can assess the entire human system, and it has enabled us to come up with some pretty consistently successful treatments for chronic pain issues. We treat a lot of peripheropathy and we treat a lot of all dizziness, vertigo, balance, restless leg. One of our biggest areas of treatment is fibromyalgia.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually what I started with when I got into this.
Yeah.
I remember after treating the first 3 fibromyalgia patients, I thought, what am I getting myself into? We don't feel that way anymore, okay? And it's a fairly complex issue. We have a pretty good paradigm here of what we believe fibromyalgia is relative to the actual causes. And one of the biggest aspects of fibromyalgia is the stress mechanism that is involved. A lot of our fibromyalgia patients have that stress mechanism from having been physically or verbally or sexually abused when they were a child or younger, or perpetually in stress. And that stress mechanism is a big part of what's going on. We also, and then we had to learn that we had the environmental problems that were perpetuating many of the patients that we were treating, and came to understand that there was more to it than just simply creating a good environment for their body to heal with diets and finding out food allergies and getting rid of infections and stuff like that, but that there were also, would you call it psychological issues?
Yeah, absolutely.
Psychological issues. So this snippet that we're doing is fibromyalgia, and is your spouse making your problem worse? And we have suspected so for quite some time. There's a lot of studies out there on how spouses sabotage their other spouse in diets and dietary regimens. And so this didn't entirely surprise us that there is some literature out there now on this subject.
Yeah.
And Dr. Gates is our literature maven. So I'm going to defer to him for the rest of the snippet.
So we found a cool article out of the Journal of Rheumatology this year. So this is brand new data where they came out and they looked at fibromyalgia patients and their pain levels, and they used these standard questionnaires that are well accepted in the research model. And they showed that those fibromyalgia patients who, let's say, had friends who did not believe that they had fibromyalgia, or frankly that they didn't believe anything was wrong with them, that didn't affect the fibromyalgia patient. However, if the spouse did not believe that something was actually wrong with their physiology and really poo-pooed it and rolled their eyes at the issue, then that did have an impact on the pain.
Just have to pull up your bootstraps.
Yeah, that really had an impact on the pain and suffering of the fibromyalgia patient, which is really no surprise, and it's something we've seen clinically for years, but it's just kind of nice to see that come out in the literature because it's hugely important. We have gone to great lengths to educate the public on the nuances of fibromyalgia, the facts that there are many things that are wrong, that this is an irrefutable condition, and though there is not a single MRI, lab test, or CT scan that pinpoints, oh, there you have fibromyalgia, we know that there's just this overwhelming tidal wave of research showing that there are a myriad of things wrong with fibromyalgia patients, ranging from small fiber neuropathy. Guess what? Those are the nerves that transmit pain, and they start to die in fibromyalgia patients. New study in the last year that has been shown. We see a high incidence of autoimmune problems in fibromyalgia patients. We know that a huge percentage of fibromyalgia patients have been abused, and the effects of stress and the stress hormones in the system cause their brains to become more sensitive to pain. I mean, we can go on and on and on. But we have done our jobs in educating you out there on those issues. All you have to do is access those talks on powerhealthtalk.com, type in Dr. Martin Rutherford on YouTube or Dr. Randall Gates on YouTube. All of our videos come up. But the point of today's broadcast is that your spouse needs to watch those videos. Your spouse needs to get conversant with the literature. If you don't want to watch us, then go talk to your rheumatologist who's up on the literature, and see that they need to be supportive of you, and they need to acknowledge that something is actually wrong with you so that you can feel better, so that they can support you. So.
Yeah, it's nice that it's in the literature, because we did recognize this quite a while ago, and our practice is kind of unique in that everybody goes through kind of an interview or a consultation. It's complimentary consultation before we decide whether that person would be a good candidate for our types of services. And one of the things that, if the spouse is there, I do those interviews. One of the things that, if the spouse is there, I'm always trying to see if the spouse does kind of roll their eye, or if they're supportive. If they're not there, I ask if they're supportive. We ask that in our paperwork. And if the spouse is not supportive, I've done a talk on fibromyalgia. I think it's also online. It's about an hour long, in addition to our presentation. And I have those on DVD, and I'll usually hand that to the patient and say, you need to have your husband watch this. And if your husband doesn't respond to this, if he doesn't get it, there's going to be a tough go of it, because what we're helping you, or we're changing your diet, or we're finding what all the physiological effects are, he's going to be stressing you out of your mind. And perpetuating stress is a big part of what's creating your problem if you're a fibromyalgia patient. So, and while Dr. Gates is trying to knock it down and get it under control in here, and you got somebody at home who's perpetuating it, it's a good recipe for a failed case. So it's nice to see this article that kind of
really
validates what we had felt for quite some time.
So if you have any other questions, you can send those to us at powerhealthtalk.com. You can send them to our Facebook page, and you can watch all of our videos on YouTube and powerhealthtalk.com, and we'll go from there. So Thank you for watching.
Okay, hope that was helpful.